Hi, welcome to There Is No Fiction. And today we're going to talk about the Hunchback of Notre Dame and basically focusing on sanctuary. Uh, the Hunchback of Notre Dame is a really dark story. It's a story about how twisted love can twist up others, and how Esmeralda and Quasimodo were bound together from the beginning of their lives. And in the story, if you read the book, I'm not talking about the Disney movie, but if you read the book, then you understand that a gypsy couple had a baby, and he had a wart that was so big it blinded him in his right eye. He had a huge hunchback, and uh, they did not want this baby. So they stole a well-to-do couple's baby girl and left their baby boy in the crib. And at the time the book was written, the way people dealt with unwanted children was there was a box in front of the church, and you would put the child there, and then anyone who wanted a child would come and take the child. So the well-to-do couple went to Notre Dame, this takes place in Paris, and left the child. And no one wanted to take the child. So the priest of the church, Bolo, took him in. And it was a duty. It wasn't really out of love, but he did try to do his best. And he taught him how to read and a little bit of social manners and a little bit of speaking. But Quasimodo was also slow to understand things, and, mentally retarded. And, which, he was like a child all the time, even though he was growing. And this, the priest didn't really love him. He did it out of duty. So over time, it became hate, and he beat upon him. And Quasimodo loved the bells, and he loved them so much and loved being the bell ringer that it made him deaf. So Esmeralda is the girl child of the well-to-do couple, and she is raised by the gypsies, and he is raised by this priest at the church. And, the story is pretty dark, pretty ugly. And if you read it, Victor Hugo was really into Gothic architecture. So there's these long passages about, the Gothic architecture of Notre Dame. So, but the story is basically climaxes close to the end when Quasimodo sees that she's about to be hanged, and she's the only person in his life that has shown him some kindness. She was dancing at the Festival of Fools, and he had snuck out, and because he had the ugliest face there, he became the king of fools. And so they put him on the chair, and take him around, and everybody, yay, and he's all happy, so happy, because everyone's paying attention to him. Everybody's saying, yay, he's the king. And Esmeralda's dancing, and he can see her dance, and he loves to watch her dance. And what happens is she saves him, kind of. He's being beaten, not because of the festival, but because of something else that had happened. And he is being beaten, and rocks being thrown at him. And she jumps up there and says, cut it out. And everybody, kind of turns away. So that was the first kindness anyone had ever shown him. And she gave him a drink of water. And he was being punished. He was supposed to be whipped for 2 hours. So she basically stopped it and then stayed there with him for the rest of the 2 hours and giving him water. And he didn't fall in love with her. He loved her. From that moment on, he loved her with all his heart. He didn't fall in love with her as in thinking of her sexually or in any way, shape, or form like that. He just was like a child. He loved her. This was someone who showed him love. So all his love went to Esmeralda, and anybody who would harm or do anything to Esmeralda, uh, off with their heads. But then the story evolves to where the priest who has raised him wants Esmeralda, and he has turned to black magic to try to get her, and basically turning back on the church and its message of love. And he claims she's a witch and tells her, I can save you if you agree to marry me. I could save you in this life and the next life. And she refuses. And this is someone who is standing up for themselves, who is not going to bow to another. And she doesn't care what you're calling her. She knows she's not a witch. And you know she's not a witch. And you're maligning and judging. And I don't know how this is going to work out in the end. I just know I'm not marrying you. So the story is really sad at this point, because this is when Quasimodo comes and grabs her off the scaffold and takes her to the church and claims sanctuary for her. And everyone's, yay, yay, sanctuary. And so then, the end of the story is that after a couple of days of sanctuary in the church and them being together in the church, and she really cares for him, and he loves her to bits, just she's the greatest thing that ever was. And now in the book, Phoebus and Esmeralda are together, and they proclaim their love for each other. And Folio comes out of the shadows and starts stabbing Phoebus in the back. And everyone thinks he's dead, and they think Esmeralda did it. So she's going to hang. Okay. Quasimodo comes and claims sanctuary for her. And they come to get her anyways. And it's the priest who is demanding this. And so they come to hang her. They put her on the scaffold, and she declares that she's done nothing wrong except love this man. And as she looks out across the crowd, there he is at the back of the crowd, but he thinks she tried to kill him too, so he don't give a shit if she's gonna die, and she gets hung. And the priest is up at the top of Notre Dame looking down, watching this. And in the meanwhile, Quasimodo thought she was hidden in his room. And when he goes to his room, he discovers that she's not there. And he gets very upset. And he runs up to the top. And he sees the priest, the man he thought, had treated him like his father, raised him, looking over the balcony at her hanging body. And in a fit of despair and rage, he picks him up and throws him down onto the scaffold as well. And he says, the two things I loved the most are there. Those are the two things I loved the most. And then he runs away. And a few years after, a couple of years later, they go to move Esmeralda's body. And when they dig up her body, they discover his body next to her, holding her. And, he just went into the grave with her and died. It's a very, very sad story. It just, gives you tears. And the part I wanted to really bring up, because it's the one takeaway everyone seems to walk away from with that, is sanctuary. And sanctuary is really the silence of your mind. When the Bible talks about sanctuary, it means go within and go to the silence. This is sanctuary. This is where you are saved. And this is how you save yourself. You don't go run into the church screaming sanctuary. That's the objective way of looking at it. It's, you're going within and imagining you're using the law of liberty, the law of freedom, the law of salvation. You're in big time trouble and you need to go within the sanctuary and, help me. And that works. And it's also natural that everyone has a hard time with admitting that it was their imagination that did it, and that those who are consciously doing it, that they have a hard time not understanding that it doesn't just drop into your lap. This is all about you, the human. There are two sides to you, a human side and a divine being side, and the two must become one. You don't destroy the human and just be the being, and you don't destroy the being and just be the human. The two have to become one. So understand that a human is an animal and therefore are subject to fight and flight responses. If you are relaxed, then you are at peace. And if you're breathing quickly, and if you're, thinking of scary things, well, now you've gone into fright, and you keep it up, and you'll go to flight. And that's when you're going crazy in your imagination. I just know he is, and I just know she is, and I just know that I'm going to go look at that. And you've gone down into a hole, and you're making this huge story up. And then, within maybe a couple of hours or even a day, it's, it appears. It's quick. It's quick because you're all up in the story. And only if you shake yourself and say, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm untangling myself from that story. No, no, no. What have I been thinking? So you have to learn to balance the scales of justice. And you do that through love. That's the common, theme throughout it all. And it's loving the animal part of you and loving the being part of you, and understanding that the being is leading the animal. And it's just like with your dog. Caesar Milan told us for years, it's not the dog, it's you. Well, it's not every other person, and it's not the world, and it's nothing but you. All of it is you. Okay, and all of it reacts to you. All of it responds to you. All of it is following you. You're the leader, whether you like it or not. Okay, and that's what you come to discover. So when you're the leader, and you know you're the leader, and it's the being in charge, not the human, not the animal in charge, well, you have to go and take the animal to relaxation. Calm down. It's okay. You're all good. There's nothing wrong. You're loved. Oh, yeah, baby. And the animal relaxes. Then the animal is basically, calm. So now you can go to being, to the being within you. And now you go to silence and you're just being. You're not the animal, you're just being. And now you imagine, what you want, what your desire is. The animal wants this, okay? The animal can have it. Yes, 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 yes. The animal can always have it, and then you come out of it. You've consciously done it. Okay, now you come out of it, but you still have to play the game. It's going to come naturally. So it comes wrapped up in your beliefs. Okay, that seed you planted has your beliefs wrapped up in it too. Okay, and it's going to come to you in some way naturally. So if you believe you have to earn a living, then you're not going to have money drop in your lap. Okay, you've got to earn a living. If you believe you've got to earn a living, but miracles happen all the time, then you need to go do your best to earn a living, and money may drop into your lap. It's things like this. And you're dreaming all the time. You're daydreaming, you're telling yourself stories, you're talking to yourself, and this is you painting the next day. And it's a Fibonacci sequence. And a Fibonacci sequence is past plus present equals future. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 plus 2 equals 5. 5 plus 3 equals 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. These are Fibonacci sequence numbers. And it is the same thing in your life. Numbers are, in math, are the universal language. So it's yesterday's thoughts plus today's thoughts equal your tomorrow. Okay, whatever they were. You're building on the one from the day before. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 plus 2 equals 5. You're building off the one from the previous. So it's very important, if you don't want certain things to happen, or and that kind of thing, you need to look at your thoughts and your beliefs and get rid of the ones that don't serve you, because you don't want to experience that in your life. And the animal part of you tends to get not like change, and is fearful and doubtful and guilty. And the being part of you, who's been holding their hand and putting them through the paces of all this, loves you, loves you, and loves you some more. So it's, understanding that it's the being part that is leading the animal part So you want to take the animal to relaxation, then you go to sanctuary, which is silence, and now you imagine what you want, and you consciously accept in your imagination that you have your desire. Hold that feeling. Say your little phrase that indicates you have it. Thank you, isn't it wonderful, whatever it is, and say it over and over again until that energy explodes out. And now it's done. And you can go to silence, to sanctuary. We've been talking about this for the last couple of videos. And this is, the power of wushu or kung fu or Shaolin is to focus on the task. Focus on the task. Just think about the task. Just lose yourself in the task. Lose yourself in something you love to do. You lose yourself. You're not thinking about anything anymore, but you focus on the task, and then you're not even thinking about it. And now you're in sanctuary. Imagine what you want, and it comes. So you don't have to do the state akin to sleep. So many people make such a big deal out of this, and it's not. That was Neville's way. Okay, you got to find your way. How do you do it naturally? Well, most people were taught to give thanks and say the prayers at the end of the day. That's revision. Take that time right then. Thank you, Father. I had a great day. And start telling your day. You don't have to imagine it. Words evoke your imagination. And this is why language and words are important. You need to know which words evoke what feeling. Okay? And you know this. And so, I say good, you say bad, he says sick. And we all mean good. It's the feeling that the word evokes. It doesn't matter what the word is. What matters is the feeling that it evokes. Okay, so you just tell your story, giving thanks at the end of the day. Thank you, Papa. Thank you, my sweet consciousness, for revealing to me. Thank you, my sweet imagination, for creating for me. And thank you, divine love, for bringing it all alive. I had a great day today. Today, however you want to do it, and if the word God evokes in you your consciousness and your imagination and your attention, then the word God is good. But if it makes you think of something outside of yourself, then it's probably not the good word to use, and use your imagination. It doesn't really matter, especially if you are alone, because then it's like, Tevye, like Tevye and Fiddler in the Roof.
Dear God, was that necessary? Did you have to make him lame just before the Sabbath? That wasn't nice. It's enough you pick on me. Bless me with 5 daughters, a life of poverty. That's all right. But what have you got against my horse? Really, sometimes I think, when things are too quiet up there, you say to yourself, let's see, what kind of mischief can I play on my friend Tevye?
So sanctuary is important, and it is important because you have to go there to understand who you are. And this is part of tithing. and you are to give 1/10 of your time to sanctuary, to being, to just being. That's giving to God. You're just being with God. You're just hanging out with God. It's time to hang, and it should be done every day so that by the end of the week, it equals one waking day. So it's important to just be and get in a habit of going to silence. And whether that's focusing on some mundane task or, meditating, taking yourself to silence, or, spending some time before you go to bed. It doesn't matter when you do it. It just should equal a full waking day by the end of the week. You will find yourself much more peaceful, and it will be easier to see the subjective side of life when you do this. And it's comforting, really. I like it. It's enjoyable. It's just silence. Some people call, I'm gonna go take a nap, and what they're really doing is they're laying in bed, and they're just being, they're just being. They're not really asleep. They're not really awake. They're just being. So, sanctuary is important. It's important for you to go to sanctuary. That is tithing. That is being with the being side of yourself that you rarely do. And, just hanging and understanding that the human side of you is beautiful and lovely and just the cutest thing ever and wonderful and is subject to the same uh, physical reactions as any other animal. You're an animal and you're a divine being, and the two are becoming one. So recognize, like Caesar tells you, it's not the dog, it's you. So it's not the world, it's me. It's not those people, it's me. It's not those dogs and cats, it's me. It's me. Okay, I'm calm, cool, assured. I'm James Bond. I'm 007. Thank you very much. I'm cool. And everyone else will treat you that way too. So I hope this helps. It's important to go to sanctuary. It is a law of tithing. When you tend not to do it, you tend not to be able to go to silence easily. It's harder to do things because you're not tithing and you're not spending time with God. And it's not because, God's mad at you for not spending time with Him. It's because you're getting to know yourself. And that's how you get to know yourself. You can just be. Just go be. So I hope this helps. Blessings to you. And thank you. Thank you for being you. I know there's a couple special requests on Great Expectations. There is no fiction series. It's usually an exclusive blog to patrons. I do videos once in a while for it because there's some video that I want to put in there, and there's also something. Usually it's going to be a book by the time I finish it, so it's better for me to just make a video. But most of the time that there is no fiction series is an exclusive blog on Patreon. So I hope this helps. Blessings to you, and thank you for being you. You're the one. Blessings to you.